Hello everyone, my name is Michelle Hernandez Mora, and in this presentation I will be providing an overview of Chapter 9, Evaluating Evaluations from Ingrid Guerra Lopez's Performance Evaluation Textbook. Evaluations, just like any other research where human beings may be involved, may be influenced by the personal experiences of those who are conducting such evaluation. Things like choosing the evaluation questions, the results, and the analysis tools are factors that could affect the evaluation conclusions. The outcomes of an evaluation may be biased based on the evaluator's experience and practices. Meta-evaluations are essential in an evaluation process because it confirms the fidelity of the evaluation process. According to Guerra Lopez, it is a professional obligation of evaluators and performance improvements evaluators. The meta-evaluation will allow the customers to decide if they will accept and implement the evaluation conclusions and recommendations. The meta-evaluation process can be done as a parallel process, allowing the evaluators to improve the overall evaluation process. According to Stufflebeam and Shingfield, essential qualifications for meta-evaluators include knowledge of professional standards for evaluations, methodological expertise, experience and competence to meet the client's needs, honesty, integrity, and respect, skills in negotiating meta-evaluation contracts, and the ability to communicate and collaborate with other meta-evaluation stakeholders. In 1975, Daniel Stufflebeam led an initiative to develop a universal set of standards to be used specifically for educational evaluations. Consequently, the Standards for Evaluation of Educational Programs, Projects, and Materials was published. The standards have been updated since they were first published. The 30 standards are organized into 4 categories. Utility standards intend to ensure that evaluation will serve the information needs of the users. These include stakeholder identification, evaluator credibility, information scope and collection, values identification, report clarity, report timeliness and dissemination, and evaluation impact. Feasibility standards intend that an evaluation will be realistic, diplomatic, and frugal. These include practical procedures, political viability, and cost effectiveness. The propriety standards intend to ensure that an evaluation will be conducted legally and ethically and with regard for the welfare of the stakeholders. These include service orientation, formal agreements, rights of human subjects, human interactions, complete and fair assessment, disclosure of findings, conflict of interest, and fiscal responsibility. Finally, the accuracy standard intends to ensure that an evaluation will reveal and convey technically adequate information. These include program documentation, context analysis, describe purpose and procedures, defensible information sources, valid information, reliable information, systematic information, analysis of quantitative information, analysis of qualitative information, justified conclusions, impartial reporting, and meta-evaluation. These standards answer the question, will the evaluation be effective? The American Evaluation Association published a list of principles for evaluators. These principles were created in 1984 and were then revised in 2004. The principles are systematic inquiry, where the evaluators conduct systematic data-based inquiries about whatever is being evaluated. Competence, where evaluators provide competent performance to stakeholders. Integrity, evaluators ensure that honesty of the entire evaluation process. Respect for people, evaluators respect the security, dignity, and self-worth of the respondents, program participants, clients, and all other stakeholders. Responsibilities for general and public welfare. Evaluators articulate and take into account the diversity of interests and values that may be related to the general and public welfare. According to Daniel Stufflebeam, meta-evaluation is the process of delineating, obtaining, and applying descriptive information and judgmental information about an evaluation's utility, feasibility, propriety, and accuracy, and its systematic nature, competence, integrity and honesty, respectfulness, and social responsibility to guide the evaluation and publicly report its strengths and weaknesses. Meta-evaluations are in public, professional, and institutional interest to ensure that evaluations provide sound findings and conclusions, that evaluation practices continue to improve, and that institutions administer efficient, effective evaluation systems. Leslie Cooksey and Valerie Carascelli discuss the multiple ways in which quality can be defined, the political and cultural context of meta-evaluation, and issues surrounding use and misuse. They argue that two possible goals of meta-evaluation of sets of studies, identifying studies for inclusion in evaluation synthesis or identifying strengths and weaknesses in evaluation capacity, have implications for evaluation planning within an organization, the methodological decision of meta-evaluation, and role of the evaluator. Confusing these goals can create complexities that undermine the achievement of either one. Finally, Bianca Montrose Moorhead and James Griffith contend that evaluation quality and credibility are among the fundamental issues in evaluation. In response to this concern, they put forth two central arguments. First, that there is a legitimate need in the field of evaluation to establish standards specifying the minimum evaluation-specific elements that an evaluator must report to enable the average stakeholder to make an informed, sound judgment regarding the quality and credibility of the evaluation being reported. Second, that the set of standards contained in the checklist for evaluation of specific standards, which they introduced, is a viable candidate for meeting the need for reporting standards. The strengths of evaluating evaluations are that it enables us to learn what works, what doesn't, and how we can make improvements. It ensures that evaluations in which you participate, in whatever capacity, are high quality and ethical, and understand how your work intersects with and benefits from strong evaluation practice. The limitations of evaluating evaluations are that the program evaluation standards were developed for the United States and Canada. Therefore, it is recommended that other countries consider what standards are useful to them. Also, the politicization may also lead to sabotaging activities due to the influence of personal experiences. How is the model being used? A case study was presented where the goal was to help identify the strengths and weaknesses of the evaluation being evaluated. What was being examined was the interdisciplinary rural health training program, where they used a goal-based model. This model was then evaluated by identifying if it met the different standards listed before. In regard to the utility standard, they found that stakeholders such as community preceptors, patients, clients, and students were not included in the evaluation planning. Also, the potential for collection of information was narrowed because they did not include students and preceptors. Two feasibility standards were relevant in this case. It was observed that leadership conflicts emerged and were addressed by listening and responding to the ideas and concerns of all committee members, and by making sure that curriculum was representative of several disciplines. For propriety standards, they found that assessing the impact of the program on patients or clients had been challenging because it is difficult to isolate the relationship between the curriculum and the community interactions between patients or clients, and the interdisciplinary student cannot be separated from other services received by the patient or the clients. Also, it is sometimes difficult to locate former students. The rights of human subjects were respected and protected thanks to factors such as the approval by the Institutional Review Board, student confidentiality, and data being used for scholarly purposes only. Possibility of bias could not be ruled out because the evaluation team was internal. Finally, for the last category, meeting accuracy standards, they found that the complexity of events and the rapidity in which they occur made this aspect of the evaluation very challenging. Next, assessments are required to yield valid data. The possibility that results may have been influenced by weaknesses associated with self-reports, such as social desirability, respondent fatigue, or resentment of having to complete assessments, cannot be ruled out. It is important to keep in mind that evaluations may be subject to human error, biases, and politicizations. Therefore, meta-evaluations may be conducted to evaluate an evaluation to ensure quality, accuracy, appropriateness, and utility. The program evaluation standards may be used to conduct a meta-evaluation.